Monthly checks for the low income, otherwise known as guaranteed basic income, or universal basic income. All of those to be discussed in this video, so let's get into it right now. But if you haven't done so, or if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video so you can join the #1 channel right here on YouTube dedicated to bringing you daily updates as it pertains to low income, no income, money, benefits, fixed income, stimulus checks, stimulus packages, monthly checks, and so much more that we're talking about in these daily videos every single day, as there's a lot going on right now, and I want to make sure that you're staying tuned with all of these updates, because anytime something's announced that we could take advantage of, I want to make sure that you know about it right away so that we can jump right on these programs. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I truly do appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button right down below the video, and I am your one and only daily advocate, as I am very much committed to you and this community as a whole to make sure that you know everything that is going on right now. All right, thank you so much. Let's get into this right now. One quick side note, my wife Corey will be back here in just a couple minutes with the new updated list of shoutouts for those names that are pulled right out of the fan club. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And if you're interested in checking out the fan club, there's a link down in the description. Otherwise, at the top of the comments section, there's a link there as well, pinned by me, and you can check that out. All right, stay tuned for the shoutouts. Those are coming here in just a few minutes. All right, let's get right into this and talk about monthly checks, otherwise known as guaranteed basic income, or universal basic income. If you've been watching the videos for any length of time now, you know that we've talked about this a number of different times. However, I haven't really gone into a whole lot of detail about these programs, what they actually mean, and what's the actual purpose behind them, and what's the differences between all of these different names, right? A lot of fancy names, but what do they really mean? And who's eligible to receive these monthly checks? All right, so let's quickly talk about the differences between these actual programs. Guaranteed basic income, and universal basic income. All right, so let's quickly determine the differences between these programs, because we kind of need to understand the differences. All right, number one, guaranteed basic income and basic income. The exact same thing, okay? So sometimes they're called guaranteed basic income, sometimes they're called basic income, but essentially they're called the exact same thing, right? These two are identical. For the most part, they are identical. Same thing, different name. Or basically, one says guaranteed at the beginning, one says just nothing, basic income, right? So same thing. Don't worry about that. Those are the same. But they're interchangeable. Sometimes they're called one or the other. Either way, it's the same exact thing. All right, here is the difference though. Universal basic income and guaranteed basic income are a little bit different. And here's what it comes down to. A guaranteed basic income program is highly focused on low income or a certain group of people. Sometimes it's focused on just men, sometimes it's focused on just women, sometimes it's focused on young adults, sometimes it's focused on older adults, sometimes it's focused on a certain demographic, right? So there's all kinds of different things when it comes to guaranteed basic income, essentially guaranteeing a basic income for one set group of people. It could be based on age, it could be based on income, it could be based on all kinds of different factors. But it's a guaranteed basic income every single month for a certain group of people. However, how does this differ from universal basic income? Universal basic income is essentially a monthly check to everybody. If you're alive, if you're breathing, if you have a pulse, you get a check, right? So universal basic income is not really widespread here in the United States. However, in some countries, they do have universal basic income. For example, there's one village in South Korea that actually has a universal basic income program. Every citizen within that village in South Korea gets a check. And what they're, let me just tell you really quickly the details about it, just really fast here. I've done some research on it. It's actually very fascinating. So what they do is they send out this monthly payment to every single person within this village, and they are required to spend that money within the boundaries of that village. Can you kind of imagine that? Kind of cool, right? So basically what they do is they give the people money and say, here, you must spend it within the boundaries of this village here, ultimately stimulating that economy, right? So it's kind of cool because it forces the people to spend it at their area businesses, all their products and services right there. So constantly that money is flowing into the economy of that little village. Not a bad idea. Kind of cool, right? So that's the difference between universal basic income and guaranteed basic income. Guaranteed basic income is set on a certain group of people. Meanwhile, universal basic income is everybody gets a check. You could be old, you could be young, you could be rich, you could be poor, you could be fixed income, you could be earning money. It doesn't really matter. Universal basic income means everybody, universal, gets a check, right? So it's not really widespread in the United States simply because, let's be real, not everybody needs a check, right? It's the low income that need a check. The rich, the high income, the wealthy, whatever you want to call it, do they need a monthly check? No, they don't really care. They don't want a monthly check. They don't need it. They don't want it. So fine, we'll take it, right? I'd be happy to take it. Thank you very much. Send it my way. I think all of us are probably feeling that way right now. All right, but anyway, let's talk about these programs, and let's talk about them a little bit more in depth here because this is very important to understand. So back in late 2019, the first guaranteed basic income program actually popped up over in Stockton, California. Now, at the time, it seemed a little bit, a little weird, like, whoa, they're going to start sending out monthly checks to a certain group of people? Well, at that time, it seemed weird, but that was in late 2019. Well, here we are in 2022, and this is a very, very popular concept. Since we saw that first program pop up in Stockton, California, we've seen a ton of these pilot programs popping up all across the country. Cities, counties, localities, we're seeing these pop up all over the place for all kinds of demographics of people. Like I said, maybe some are focused on men, some are focused on women, some are focused on young adults. In fact, I could point out a few different programs that are focused on exactly these programs I just pointed out right there. But a lot of times, these programs are specifically focused on income, right? So a lot of times, they look at a certain group or a certain area and they say, okay, we're going to roll out a guaranteed basic income, otherwise known as monthly checks, and we're going to focus it on this group of people with incomes under, blank dollars. Whatever it happens to be, it's usually different in every single group. However, that's why these programs are so incredibly powerful. Let me tell you a few more interesting points about guaranteed basic income and why these programs are so incredibly powerful. First off, it sends out a monthly guaranteed check for a specified period of time. Usually it's a long period of time, 12 months, 24 months, sometimes even 36 months or longer. That's amazing, right? So if you're in the program, you're going to get that monthly check every single month, ongoing for usually a minimum of 12 months. Most of the time it's 12 months to 24 months, and sometimes it's a little bit longer than that. One other cool thing about it, a lot of times the payments range anywhere between $500 and $1,000. Now, of course, there are some outliers. I have seen some programs in New York, for example, sending out $1,250 per month. So when you're in a location that maybe has a higher cost of living, like New York, very expensive to live there, right? So they might be sending out a little bit more than $1,000. In that case, $1,250 a month. But usually it's about $500, sometimes up to $1,000 every single month, guaranteed. Here's another cool thing about it. No strings attached. A lot of times they send out these payments and they are no strings attached. NSA, no strings attached. In other words, you can do anything you want with it. You can save the money, you can spend the money, you can buy a car, you can buy a refrigerator, you can buy a dog, you can buy a cat, you can buy a swing set, you can buy clothes, you can buy shoes, you can buy gas in your car, you can buy food in your pantry, you can buy diapers for the baby. You can do anything that you want with the money. It does not matter. No strings attached. That's what's really cool about the program, right? Really cool. You don't have a micromanager. You don't have anybody looking over your shoulder saying, hey, you can't buy that. Sorry, it's not within the rules. No, it is a no strings attached payment. In other words, you can do anything you want with it. So, another really cool thing about guaranteed basic income. All right, next, what else is really cool about the program? These benefits typically are non-taxable income. Another amazing thing, right? Very cool thing about these programs. It's just like a stimulus check. It comes out as a non-taxable event, as in a monthly stipend that comes out, and in many cases, it is non-taxable. However, is that ubiquitous among all programs? Well, no, probably not all of them. However, the vast majority of them, it is a non-taxable event. It is non-taxable income. Therefore, when you get $500, you don't need to peel off 50% of it and give it to the IRS. Not bad, right? However, when you do want to spend that money, when you spend it at the retail stores, of course, you're going to have to pay sales taxes on whatever that you're buying, right? Like a car, food, whatever, stuff like this, depending on the location where you are. Of course, if your state has taxes in the location that you are, of course, there's a lot of different factors there. But generally, when it comes to income taxes, generally, it's not counted as that, right? A lot of times, too, the people that are receiving these payments have such a low income anyway that even if it was counted as income, it generally wouldn't add up to a whole lot anyway because your income would be low enough, therefore you typically wouldn't pay taxes on it anyway, right? So there's a lot of different ways in which it's non-taxable, but again, that could vary program to program, location to location, but it's something else that we need to talk about. All right, a couple other cool things about this. We already do have some lawmakers, progressive lawmakers in the House of Representatives who are discussing sending out a nationwide guaranteed basic income program. Wait, what does that mean? Yeah, you heard that correctly. So usually all the programs right now are being operated on a state-by-state level, a county, a city, a location-based level. So it's usually very micro at this time right now. However, these progressive Democrats are coming out and they want to send out monthly checks to low-income individuals on an ongoing monthly basis, no strings attached. Essentially getting monthly stimulus checks from the federal government versus the state, the city, the county, or the location. So again, not a bad situation, right? Think of that. So rather than some of these guaranteed basic income programs being specified to maybe California or Alabama or Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, all these different New York, New Jersey, all of these different programs, by the way, that's just a few of the states that have these programs. Rather than having these locations just sending out these payments, these would be coming right out of the federal government, right out of the Treasury, right out of the IRS, sending you these payments, just like the child tax credit payments. Again, the child tax credit payments are kind of borderline guaranteed basic income, right? There's a lot of talk back and forth. Were those guaranteed basic income? Well, on one hand, you could say, yeah, kind of they were. But on the other hand, you could also say, well, technically, they were advanced payments on a refundable tax credit, which is exactly what was the stimulus checks as well, right? Monthly checks is all it comes down to. Anyway, I want to come back and let you know what these programs are, the differences between guaranteed basic income, and universal basic income. Just remember this much. It's a monthly check. No strings attached, monthly check, not counted as income, just like a stimulus check, and it's gravy all the way. It's a pretty cool program, right? So, especially focused on the low income, these are some amazing programs that could really help out a lot of people. Millions and millions of people could really be helped out in a huge way when it comes to GBI, Guaranteed Basic Income, BI, or I don't really see it abbreviated that way, but Basic Income, or UBI, Universal Basic Income. Not a bad thing, right? So anyway, hope this helps to clear it up a little bit more. As we get more details on any of these nationwide programs, of course, I'll be right here to keep you posted. So make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss any videos going forward. If you have any questions on these programs, please feel free to leave it down below. I'll do my best to answer them, or if I need to come back and make a dedicated video, of course, I can always do that as well. Thanks for being part of the community. I really do appreciate it. My wife, Corey, will be back right now with that new updated list of shout-outs for all of those names pulled right out of the fan club. If you're in the fan club, hey, thanks so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. If you want to check it out, there's a link down in the description. Otherwise, at the top of the comments section, there's a link there as well. Feel free to check that one out as well. Otherwise, all the videos here on the channel are 100% free, always have been, and always will be, as free is my favorite price, and I love to share my favorite price with this community. So again, thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe down below, share this video, and go back and check out any of the other 2,000 plus videos right here on the channel. And with that being said, Corey, take it away, and congratulations to all of the shout-outs in this video right out of the fan club. All right, Corey, it's all you.
We're excited to shout out Jean Allen, John Miller, Janet Miller, Barbara Heim, David Nagal, Laura Melendez, and Kelly Leary. Thank you for being in the fan club.